Hi, this is Marla. Welcome back to my channel and the March Oh So Inspired collaboration hosted by my friend Call Me Crafty Al. The hashtag on the screen can be used in order to find all the participants on YouTube. I will also have a playlist link in the description box below that will be available shortly after these videos go live. So thank you so much for joining us. If you'd like to play along and were inspired by something that we created, please use the hashtag I was oh so inspired when you post your cards so that we can see how you were inspired by these videos. That is our hope, that you will participate right along with us. This month's collaboration is featuring a card by La Cristinelle, which is Christina Pakazanevia. I just butchered her name, I'm sure. I will have a link to all of her social media that's available in the description box below so you can check out her work. This has a beautiful repeat diamond pattern, the larger sentiment in the center. We also have floral pattern paper and a little bit of vellum. Here are the products that I'm using for my card today, all of them but the paper pattern from the Greetery. We have Let's Have a Word Beautiful, which has some sub-sentiments in the word beautiful. I'm going to be using and making some flowers out of the Botanicuts Forget Me Nots. The macrame border is this beautiful macrame or faux macrame diamond pattern. So this is going to be my repeat pattern on the card that was inspired by Christina's card. And then I have this beautiful Summer Flowers pattern paper from the Not Too Shabby Shop. This is going to be re-released and I will have that link in the description box below. I also have a top folding card base, coral reef ink from Pink Fresh Studio, and here I'm showing you how I die cut 4 of those macrame pieces. 2 from the pattern paper with the floral pattern, 2 from white cardstock, and then I alternated how I inlaid the pieces from the center. I wanted a little bit of bulk on my diamond pattern, so I cut a layer of white cardstock. This is Nina Solar White 80-pound cardstock, and I'm just going to add it to all of my die cuts. This is only going to be 2 pieces of paper. Usually I do 3, but for this one I only did 2, and it served 2 purposes. 1, it gave a little bit of dimension on the card, and 2, it also made it much easier to inlay those pieces. So there's what I was talking about. I'm alternating the florals with the solids. This ombre pattern paper is absolutely beautiful. It's actually gradient, not ombre, but it's cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches, and that is another piece of pattern paper that came from the summer flowers. So I was inspired by the florals, of course, because I absolutely adore florals, but I was also inspired by the repeat pattern. So I am going to alternate from floral to the white, floral, and white on this panel. I'm trying to center it. I say this all the time in all of my videos. I am not the best at centering. I don't like to do a lot of measuring with rulers and stuff, so I pretty much eyeball it, and I think I got it pretty centered for this card. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the outer edge of those macrame pieces, and then of course to the center inlaid pieces to make sure that everything stays in place nicely. I'm trying to make sure that I have an even distance between the top and the bottom pieces of macrame, and then I'm also trying to make sure that I am keeping the same distance between each of the layers. So I'm just aligning them with each other, kind of using my eye to center it, and then adding the glue and gluing this down. I will use my guillotine trimmer to trim off any of the excess that's on here. I love, as I just mentioned, flowers, and as I was looking at this, I thought it would be really pretty to add dimensional flowers to each of the centers of those macrame pieces. So even though I have the floral pattern paper in some of those diamonds, I am going to cover it up just a little bit with some of those forget-me-nots, but you'll still see the patterns peeking out. What I ended up doing is alternating. I took some of that gradient paper, which has more of a solid look to it. I cut several flowers using the gradient so that I had solid colors of flowers and centers. And then I also did the same with some of the floral pieces. So when I put them together, as you can see on the right, I alternated what I was doing just like I did with those macrame pieces. So for this flower that I'm putting together, you can see that I'm using some of the pattern paper. For the center star that is going to go over top of that, that is a solid piece. And then I typically went with a solid piece on the florals for this round piece, and I did the exact opposite. If my base pieces were the solid color, then I added the floral pieces to those. I'm using a stylus, and I have a very small one right here, and all I do is press down in the center, and that helps give those little flowers a little bit of dimension. As I said, I do have a top folding card base, so I added a little bit of glue to the back of my panel, attached it to my top folding A2 size card base, and now we're going to start adding our flowers. I'm going to do, again, the alternating. So for some of the rows, I'll have 3 of the floral flowers and 2 solids, and then for the other one that would be above it and below it, I'll do just the opposite. So I'll have more of the solid and less of the flowers. So I'm just keeping with the same patterns. And that's really what I was mimicking. What inspired me from the cards was, of course, I love the floral pattern paper. I loved the repeat pattern. And so when I was going through my stash, I did actually have the die that she used from Pink Fresh Studio on her card, and I could have really just repeated that card, but I wanted to do something that was unique to me, unique to my style, and creating dimensional flowers is something that is unique to my style, and I thought that this really personalized the card. I took a piece of white scrap paper and I added some of that coral reef to it, and then I die cut the word beautiful and the sub-sentence have a and then day. So it's going to say have a beautiful day. At first I cut a piece of pink and white polka dot pattern paper, which again was from that Summer Flowers paper pad. And it was falling, it was getting lost on the panel. And so I thought, well, instead of wasting it, I'm going to go ahead and offset it with the coral. And I think that it really helped the large word beautiful stand out. Again, Christina's card did have a large sentiment on the front of it. And this again was inspired by that large sentiment on her card. Of course, I started at the bottom of my card thinking that that was where I wanted to place everything, but I changed my mind here about a couple of things. So as you can see, I have flowers, no flowers, flowers, no flowers, and then I moved my sentiment up towards the top, and as I was looking at it, I thought, you know what, I need to make another set of flowers for the bottom. It has to be, the word beautiful has to be on a flat surface for it to be able to sit nicely and not fall off my card. So the second line definitely can't have any flowers on it, and I am going to add it more at a diagonal instead of straight across. You can see I added the have a just above it towards the front of the sentiment, and then I'm adding the word on the tail end, which I think really balances out in the card. I'm going to add these flowers again, alternating to go different from the line above. You can see Christina's card and see my interpretation side by side right here. I really like to share that. And that will complete my card for today. So please make sure that you head over to the other designers' channels to see what they've created. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would love for you to give it a big thumbs up. And until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day. Thanks for joining us.